Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. God bless you. Facebook Live will be just a second. Also, YouTube. Cause
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Ten seconds.
10 seconds.
Five, four, three, two.
God bless you. Welcome to the Stephen Smith Show. Glad to be in front of you on another week. Glad to be able to be seen on this week. I'm so happy with little Covington that got me. I'm not floating in space. I'm not being chased by a ghost or some creature on the screen. So you're all right. You're my folks. Little Covington. Appreciate you. God bless you. Glad to be in front of you on another week. So much stuff happening in our world. It's almost hard to keep up with everything that's happening as quickly as it happens. But I do want to kind of give note of some notable things on today. I would be remiss if I would not mention the anniversary of the death of my spiritual father, the late Bishop G.E. Patterson. That's Gilbert Earl Patterson, Post Office Box 1, Memphis, Tennessee, 38101. Love that man. Bishop G.E. passed away on March the 20th of 2007. Seems like it was just yesterday, 11 years later. Also want to give condolences to the family of Elder Billy Macklin. He passed a year ago on this same day. I wanted to at least touch those. So many things happening in the Memphis area. Congratulations to Penny Hardaway. He's the new basketball coach at the University of Memphis. I'm so used to saying Memphis State. I'm an older guy, so I have to get that out. I'm so excited about that. One of my favorite players of all time. I'm so happy. I'm expecting great things from him. I want you prayer warriors that are out there to keep my family in prayer. I'm not going to go into not going to go in depth on that, but if you can get a prayer through, call me and my family's name out. I appreciate that. I believe that God is yet a healer. I was thinking about we're living in days where there's just so much stuff happening. I mean, I was reading last week that Toys R Us are bankrupt. Whoever thought that Toys R Us would go bankrupt. iHeartMedia, the parent company for so many of the Clear Channel stations, they have gone bankrupt in the last week. Jeff Sessions says that he wants to increase the prison population. We don't have to look far to figure out who he has in mind for that. We have school shooting after school shooting. And now we're scared to even see the UPS man or the FedEx man come to our door. We're living in just times that just change so quickly. But for tonight, if I were to use a subject, and you all don't call everybody and say, Smith has finally lost his mind. I want to use something from a little bit in yesteryear. And I want to say here in Memphis that it's hard out here for a pimp. It's hard out here for a pimp. I know y'all said the holiness preacher that lost his mind. But that pimp that I'm talking about, is an acronym. I want to use that acronym. The P is a person. The I is in. The M is for Memphises. and P is Memphis's poorest zips. Person in Memphis's poorest zips. I wanted to share on that because this is a result after I read an editorial by Dr. Kenneth Robinson, who used to be the former pastor of St. Andrew AME Church. And now I think he's over the United Way, if I'm not mistaken. And he was referencing a health department study where they observed the residents of 38126, right where I grew up. Actually, 38126 when I was born didn't exist. It was 38106, and now you have 38106 and 38126. Sometimes they kiss, sometimes one replaces the other. It's in the heart of South Memphis. The health department study says that the average life expectancy in 38106 is 69.01 years, while the average life expectancy in Collierville, the zip code is 38017, is 82.59 years. Wow, that was just something for me. It was a nice guest editorial. I'm not saying that even though he's a brilliant man, I'm not saying that he went just in debt, but he wanted to. It was a rallying cry for attention, because it shouldn't be. I can get in my car and I can drive 25 minutes with the right traffic conditions to Collierville from South Memphis, and I live 13 plus more years. Folks, that's worth noting. And he was going over some of the things that he went over about the decreased life expectancy in 38126, and I think I have a particular vantage point. I grew up in 38126 or 38106. That's where I came up at. That's where I cut my teeth. That's where I played dodgeball. That's where I played kickball. That's where I played Simon Says, where I played hide and go seek. That's my hood, as they call it. And I lived as a resident in Collierville for about 9 years. So I think I have a particular vantage point to share. However, I'm disturbed. I mean, where you live should not take years off of your life. And he gave some reasons for his statistic. One thing that he said is in many of these neighborhoods, they have what's called food deserts. And now with the closing of certain Kroger stores around Memphis, now we have even more what's called food deserts. And when you have food deserts, savvy businessmen will move in, and they move in the way of convenience stores. Not only will they bring you overpriced food, but they'll bring you food that's not good for your overall health. I was reading, he listed that poverty has deep roots. Sometimes it's systemic. There are so many causes, so many, some poverty is almost institutionalized. But I went and looked at, one of the things that he said is that many health outcomes are often from social economic factors. Folks, look, when you're driven by stress because of a lack of money, when your money's funny, your change is strange, it's hard to be smiling all day. And when you deal with stress in this particular community, you have some people, you have an increase of cigarette usage. You have people who attempt to drink the pain away, cirrhosis of the liver. You have people who want to smoke the pain away, whether that be via a cigarette or via some drug. So you have the rise of lung cancer, physical sickness, morbid obesity. But folks, most of America is overweight right now. There are people that actually, they eat sometimes because there's nothing else to do because they want to eat the pain away. Folks, this study was something that all of us need to take note of, and I'll offer what I think is my solution what a great solution would be, and it's going to involve me and it's going to involve you. But we shouldn't see people's days cut down by right where they live. 13 years, same city. I could, a 25-minute drive that I've ought to live at a certain zip that I'm guaranteed a longer life. I took a mental walk back through my streets when I was young. One day I was sitting down, and it was about 2 years ago, and I thought about 2 or 3 streets, and I counted in my head, not in my school, but just as physical neighbors, about 24 people that I felt like had died before their time. Folks, poverty has its consequences. And we have to start turning this particular thing. I know you want me to preach, Steve, and child of God on tonight, but I gotta, Dr. Robinson picked so many things that we need to pay note to. Folks, this is my home. This is where I grew up with. This is where every now and then, matter of fact, I drove through there Saturday on my way to the shoe shine parlor. I had to come right back through the hood where I used to live. Every now and then, I got to just make sure that it's still there. And we need to pay so much attention to these disturbing statistics. I was listening, and I went and studied some more about stress-related ailments. I even read one study where it says 75% of all physician visits are for stress-related ailments and complaints. And nothing stresses you out than when your money is funny and your change is strange. You have stress-related ailment. Chronic stress is linked to heart disease. It's linked to cancer. It's linked to lung ailments, suicide. I think I read a study once where Memphis per capita has the highest percentage of diabetics in the world. Folks, a lot of that is bad eating. And some of that bad eating is for people that don't have a vehicle. They can't drive all the way. When I lived in Collierville, we could stay in Collierville proper, and within 5 to 10 minutes in every direction, there was another Kroger. Staying right in Collierville, I could have went to the Kroger that was right on Houston Levee. I could have gone to the Kroger that was on Poplar, or I could have went to the Kroger in Germantown within 5 to 10 minutes. And now we got whole neighborhoods where there's not a viable grocery store anywhere in the area. We're acquiring these food deserts, and what's significant when there's a food desert, some of those older people, that's where they get their scripts from. Where they get their scripts from is so important because some of the medicines that they're taking are what's keeping them alive. It's hard out here for a pimp. I studied some more, and they said that stress can affect your brain. It can cause blood sugar imbalance. It can decrease bone density. It can destroy your muscle tissue, raise your blood pressure, increase fat deposits. It leads to heart attacks, to strokes, and elevated bad cholesterol. Folks, look, my message on tonight is just to, I want to give credit and credence to Reverend Robinson, Dr. Robinson, for bringing this out, that yes, I don't live in the ghetto anymore. And so many of you don't anymore either. But we got to remember that when God has lifted us and favored us and pulled us out of the grips of hard times and snatched us out of poverty's grip, and that God has moved us from the ghetto into the God more, we still got to go back every now and then and remember Bo, we got to remember Joe, and we got to remember Flo. Folks, you can't forget where you came from. I mean, if it wasn't for the sheer grace of God, I'd be right there. Yeah, I rode in some of the same cars that people that are perennially stuck there. I did some of the same things. I went to the same parties, ran the same streets. And folks, it was just the grace and favor of God. I know recent political campaigns have castigated anyone that's on any type of government assistance as some lazy person.
But look, folks, there are plenty of people that cannot work because of their health. They cannot work because of some hardship or some crisis in their life. So I want to, and if you really want to know where the largest percentage of people who are on some type of government assistance, they don't even look like you, or they don't even look like me. But folks, that's the picture that we're painting. And I don't want us to start getting, because I was thinking about W.E.B. Du Bois. He had years back, he had a thing where he called people those of the talented 10th. That there were just some African Americans that were leaders. He's talking about the leadership class of the African Americans. And we have brothers and sisters in Memphis, Tennessee that are starting to prosper. They're starting to rise. They're starting to grow. They're starting to come to the forefront in so many industries. But while you're rising, don't forget your folk. I mean, I'm not paid to do this. I mean, I'm paying to do this. I'm telling you, you can't forget those. And there's Bible for that. The Bible says, to whom much is given, much is required. I know, and I'm not telling you that you need to walk down Vans anytime soon. I'm not telling you that you need to go and evangelize on Lamar at 2 in the morning. However, I'm saying that every now and then you need to go back and try to save the least of these. If you can't save a whole community, just save one. Pull somebody out of the hand of bad times, out of hard times. You know, there's so many disturbing statistics. One statistic that I read recently was that median U.S. black wealth is on track to be $0 by 2053. The average white household is set to be, household wealth will be about $137,000 in 2053. And our net worth as a country, as a community, is 0. Folks, look, those are disturbing statistics. And that's, if we wonder why our kids are running wild, if we wonder why some of our children are giving up hope, they see this on a daily basis. I know it's nice for some of us to be called Mr. I go in the bank now and they call me Mr. Smith. I remember a day when I went and they didn't call me nothing. So, but I'm not going to get so puffed up that because God has blessed me in one way or another that I forget my people. Folks, look, yes, I'm glad that you're now a vice president. I'm glad now that you've been elevated. I'm glad now that you have to pull up to the gate and the security guard has to